Re-Zero, Volume 3, Chapter 4, Part 5, The Demonic Method. As the unquestionably odd one out in a battle of horned demon, demon beast, and ordinary boy, Subaru paid attention to every detail of the melee as he bobbed and weaved. His conduct was exceedingly simple. He'd hold his position as the battle grew more intense, making no effort to increase the distance, dodging only the sparks that fell in his direction. End of story. Once again, the demon beast pounded by the iron ball became wall-paced before his eyes. Heedless of their comrades' deaths, 3 demon beasts teamed up to attack Rem without pause, aiming to inflict greater wounds upon her. Such good intelligence went to waste, for her hand knocked them away. Once they were immobile, they became easy prey for the iron ball's descent. Subaru glanced at the spectacle as he shifted his hold on Ram, in danger of falling out of his grasp, and jumped back. He barely evaded the fangs of one demon beast, only to dance right into Rem's range of attack. And when Rem realized Subaru was closing in, she instantly moved to intercept. Subaru came to a very abrupt stop to escape the thrust of her iron handle, then leaped back and ducked to avoid the lash of the chain that followed, the iron ball passing over his head to change the head of the demon beast chasing behind him into a spectacularly blooming crimson flower. Subaru heard the body crashing down behind him as he threw shame and honor to the wind and crawled on the ground, cockroach style, to escape immediately. Rem, hot on his heels, found her path obstructed by demon beasts. Escape successful. Subaru held his distance as he rewarded himself with a single sigh of relief at the quick thinking that had saved his life. Ha! I'm actually doing pretty well here. He desperately bounded away to avoid being bitten, twisted the presuming demon beast on the maid girl, and crawled like a bug to escape the angry girl's wrath. If his actions were ever recorded for posterity, he'd want to die then and there, but he focused on the fact that his conduct was intended to keep him alive. At that moment, things were unfolding according to Subaru's plan. The situation could be worse. They were at least buying time and reducing the number of demon beasts. When he glanced up, he sensed the eyes of demon beasts all around the valley. Once they spied the battle, they joined the fray one by one. The demon beasts were obeying their instincts in response to Subaru's spreading the stench of the witch throughout the forest. This could work. He saw a chance for victory. That, at least, was what Subaru thought. Subaru engaged in more evasive action when he suddenly felt dizzy and tilted heavily. It wasn't that he'd been careless with his steps. He was suddenly assailed by a feeling of lethargy as a chill ran through his entire body. He knew. The curse. At a time like this? Subaru looked up to try to see if the demon beast from which the curse hailed was one of the surrounding Rem, but he had no way to tell which was the caster. Besides, it was unlikely the demon beast had triggered the curse just to make Subaru suffer. It was the simple result of being faced with the menace of Rem and craving the mana with which to fight her. And Subaru was right there with them, right ready for activation, his mana there for the taking. A simple reason, but also a fatal one. If the curse got the better of Subaru, making him lose his balance and crash to the ground, if the demon beast had bit Subaru to death, it was only a matter of time until they weighed Rem down by sheer numbers. But more than that, the very reason Rem had entered the forest would be... Ah! A great shout echoed loudly enough to rend the air and split the ground as she swung down, her fist turning one demon beast into dog food. In a single instant, with incredible explosive force, Rem had broken through the monster ranks to kill a demon beast far away from her. The sight shocked Subaru and the beast alike. When Subaru recovered, he immediately realized it. He was breathing easier. The lethargy had abated. He'd been freed from the effects of the curse. Rem returned to butchering the demon beasts surrounding her as if she hadn't even heard Subaru call her name. Subaru watched the blue-haired girl in the midst of combat as it keenly sunk in that, though she wasn't lucid or in a state to recognize who Subaru was, Rem had saved him by turning that demon beast into paste. She hadn't mistaken the sight of her beloved older sister, nor, apparently, had she forgotten the reason why she plunged into the forest in the first place. If that's the case, he thought. Subaru scraped his mind for the thing that only he could do. He thought that he should be faithful to his original goal, not resort to a roundabout plan like this. In other words, I'll have the heartthrob maid sisters, Rem and Rem, send that curse packin'. If Subaru could accomplish that, he might yet be able to get out of the situation alive. Furthermore, to do that, he needed to bring Rem back to sanity in a real sense. Subaru's business is not with the murderous demon, but with the superficially polite, quick to jump to conclusions girl whose running off on her own caused everyone else so much trouble. Rem. The horn. Suddenly, Subaru heard a voice from within his arms. Rem, still in his embrace, faintly opened her eyes, giving Subaru an unfocused upward glance. You're awake? I think my timing here is quite excellent. Ram was smiling a bit. Subaru smiled back half seriously as he replied. Yeah, you got some instincts, Big Sus. What do you mean, the horn? Ram pulled her chin in with a look of annoyance. It is that horn that has led Rem astray. A single, powerful blow will bring her back. You're sure that'll work? Fairly. Largely. I believe that it will. That's kind of vague, you know. But I want to believe you. Subaru cut off his words and looked at Rem. The white horn jutted out from Rem's forehead to a length of some 4 inches. If Puck stood on her forehead, he and the horn would be around the same height. A single blow. There. Doesn't that seem kinda impossible? Use your intellect and courage and just do it. Well, I do kinda have a way to do things that involve intellect and courage, but... Subaru's unexpected reply made Ram raise her eyebrows. He smiled weakly at her, as he had difficulty putting it into words. It's probably going to give you a scare. If it brings my little sister back to sanity, I shall not be upset. Really? Really. You swear on Roschi? You must really not mind dying to pick that. Yes, I swear on Master Roswell. It was because Ram had said it in such a thoroughly valiant way that Subaru respected her views so highly. Before them, Ram slowly turned in their direction. The bulk of her attention was trained on them, with the remainder toward the demon beasts surrounding them to warn her if they came close. In contrast to Rem, on guard for attacks from every direction, Subaru was focused solely on smacking that horn. Namely, and off you go! Ram had a distant look of shock on her face as Subaru lifted her up by the hips and chucked her forward. No doubt that the thought he'd throw her had never entered her mind. Ram looked aghast, but Rem was equally so. Rem, still in her horned form, stood agape for a brief moment before reaching out as her older sister flew through the air toward her. The iron ball fell from Rem's grasp as she welcomed her big sister with open, blood-stained arms. In an instant, her expression, so hard and painted over with hostility and bloodlust, changed into something much softer. Super sprang forward to not let that instant go to waste. The same moment he hurled Ram forward, Subaru lowered his body and charged. Rem's gaze was aimed up, preoccupied with her big sister, while Subaru approached from the blind spot, close to the ground. His feet slid, and his right hand drew his sword from his waist. In one motion, he sliced through the wind as he slid the blade out of the scabbard, aiming it at the horn on Rem's forehead. The timing was perfect. Even Rem could not respond in time to the sudden attack, but... Ah! Through a combination of the blade's broken tip and Subaru's own timid, half-hearted step at the end, the blade missed a direct blow to her horn, passing a few millimeters short. Subaru was appalled at having let his tiny moment of opportunity slip through his hands. I chickened out. I didn't have enough courage for the last part. His body swam as he got nothing but air. Subaru's momentum carried him past her, exposing his back, and Rem raised her left hand to stab him. The long claws on her fingertips would surely go right through Subaru's back and stick out the other side. He regretted dying one step away from success, and at Rem's hands at that. The very moment he thought it. Whoa! The ground beneath his feet exploded, the resulting cascade of rocks vaulting Subaru straight up. The scattering rocks powdered his body all over. Skin breaking and bleeding, Subaru looked down from midair to see the cause of his pain. South to the point where the ground had exploded under Subaru, he saw the demon beast puppy in a low crouch. The Uragarum had kept a low profile since leading the pack down the cliff, waiting for its opportunity to take Subaru and Rem out in a single cascade of rocks. And so, seeing Subaru create an opening, it spectacularly intervened with the goal of sending both him and Rem flying. However, its plan was foiled when Rem roared and stomped into the ground from which the rocks were erupting. Force canceled force, ending with only her blue hair heavily disheveled. She'd canceled out magical force with raw violence, smashing the spell with brute force. The cascade of rocks ceased, and Rem's shoulders eased as she held her big sister preciously in her arms. Subaru, still above her, had vanished from even the furthermost reaches of her mind. Buffeted by the spell, Subaru whirled head over heels with no idea which way was up, but his right hand kept the sword firmly in its grip even then. Fortunately, he landed not against the rock wall, but merely on the hard ground. And Rem stood right below him, her head exposed, not noticing him whatsoever. There'd be no better chance, no chance after. It was now or never. He gripped the single-hand sword's hilt with both hands and swung with all his might. He had arrived at this point at the end of the long string of coincidences. Optimism for the win. Miracles were awesome. Even if purely by whim, sometimes God did good work. Although God's work would also have helped tremendously with the previous attempt. And now he was right above Rem, and noticed, her head fully exposed. He made a strange smile. There was no time. Rem was close at hand, and so was a slow, leisurely world with her. He saw the horn. He swung the sword past its apex with all the energy he could muster. Laugh, Rem. Today I'm more demonic than any demon. The blade flashed straight down, aimed at the white horn. The high-pitched sound of steel striking steel sharply echoed through the demon beast forest. The next moment, Subaru crash-landed, his own painful yelp merging with the echo.